Hey everyone, I'm Rod and Todd, a professional YouTuber who makes professional videos, and it's Tuesday, which means it's time for another Transformers review. So here we go. This is WFC-S38 Springer. He was released in the Voyager size class as part of Wave 3 of the War for Cybertron Siege toy line. So, as always, we'll start with the Ultra Mode. Springer is in fact a triple changer, which means he is capable of 3 different configurations. So there's robot mode and then there's 2 vehicle modes. We'll start with the car mode. So I'll be honest, I do not like the car mode. I guess it turns out I've been transforming the figure wrong this entire time. I didn't realize there was this piece you're supposed to move into a certain position, and so that made the entire car mode really wonky and this top piece not peg in straight. After finding out that you were supposed to transform it this one way, I still can't get this top piece to peg in straight. Every time I do, it makes it to where the back wheels here are about an inch off the ground. So I'll be honest, this vehicle mode has a few problems, but overall it's aesthetically alright. Functionality wise, not so much. It's some sort of like armored assault vehicle, which is pretty much based directly off of how Springer appeared in the original 1986 Transformers movie. As you can see, there's the Autobot symbol on the front hood there, and 4 free rolling wheels so we can roll out to fight the Decepticons. Doesn't roll very well, but you can roll out. Legs don't stay pegged together very well. Another problem I have with this vehicle mode. It's very bright green, and it has a ton of the battle damage paint all over it. In fact, I think this figure is definitely one of the ones that has the most battle damage of all the Siege figures. He's got some of it on the front of his car, right here and here. You can't see it particularly well, but you can kind of see it reflecting. Some on the hood. See if I can get some different lighting here. Some on the roof here, and then some kind of on the back. So there's a lot of battle damage paint on this. A lot of people don't really like it, but I'm honestly fine with it. I don't really mind it very much. Even though I think it would have been really cool if they re-released this figure as part of Studio Series 86, just with the battle damage removed. I think that would have been pretty cool. But, alas, I doubt it's not happening. Or I doubt it's happening, I guess. I don't know. Got the tiny little transparent cockpit right there. And there's various ports for mounting the different weapons. There's one on the roof. And there's one kind of on the front of each one of these little side pods, or whatever you want to call those. And one on the side of each of the little side pod things. And then one kind of on either side of the little rear section here. And then 2 more on the roof, I guess. I don't know. Guns with 2 different guns, so you can... There you go. So yeah, this car mode's kind of a bit unstable, and overall has a few functionality issues. But aesthetically, it's pretty good. If you were to ignore all the functionality stuff, this figure would be top-notch. But yeah, he's aesthetically pleasing in this form, not very functionality-wise pleasing. So, with that being said, let's move on to the second vehicle mode, which is the helicopter mode. And here he is in his copter mode. As you can see, it's really not that different from the car mode. Basically, the front's pretty much entirely the same, except the side pods aren't in front of whatever this middle thing is. They're slightly behind it. And again, I've been transforming it wrong the entire time. The side pods were in the wrong spot when I've been transforming it before. So I was wondering why this little roof piece wasn't staying in. It still doesn't stay in too well, but stays in better than before. So that was kind of me being stupid, and I probably would have had the car and helicopter modes transformed wrong in this video if I hadn't looked up pictures before this video started, before I started filming. So if you're wondering where the oh yeah, and other differences between this mode and the car mode, it has these little side thingies, these little, I guess you could call them like pontoons, like a little, or not pontoons, they're little landing skids, except they really don't do the trick of landing. They're tiny, and this thing has wheels anyway. And of course, instead of a more short back, it just extends out into this tail, with this nice little fin on the back. And of course, the rotor blades, which, if you're wondering where these come from, there's a spinning piece here, and then he comes with two swords just attached to the sides, plug it in the hole on the top, and it actually spins pretty well. So you can either have Springer roll out, or you can spin the blades here. Kind of fly out, but no, he doesn't fly like that. It's a helicopter. To go fight the Decepticons. I kind of like the copter mode a bit more than the car mode, honestly, because I can actually get this one to work more properly. You can mount his guns here too. Of course, all the same holes as in the car mode, but he has two new ones on these little landing skids, and there's this little hole in here and a tab on the gun. You just insert it there, and it just kind of stays in there securely. There's not a tab on the other gun for some reason, so that one just kind of pegs in and it's super tight. Jeez, I'm gonna just leave it at that. So, you can really get this copter mode pretty heavily armed if you want. So yeah, I kind of prefer the copter mode a little over the car mode just because, you know, functionality-wise it works a lot better. The transformation's a lot more tedious because you have to do like a bajillion steps with the legs in order to get them in the tail like this. So that's not the best. Transformation sucks, but this vehicle mode is actually alright. As with the car mode, it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's a functionality nightmare. So that's really all I have to say about both of his vehicle modes. So let's just move on to the box. So here is the box. It's the standard Siege Voyager class box, really nothing too special about it. There's the Siege logo and the Transformers logo there. On the back of the inside of the packaging, there's that big rank insignia, which is mirrored right there. You turn it right there, it says Autobot Springer. Standard Siege mural, won't be going over that. And then on the back, it has some 3D renders of the figure. It's not an actual picture of the toy. It's just like a computer animation render thing. They do this with a lot of modern Transformers, and I honestly just kind of prefer a picture of the figure, but I guess this is cool. As you can see, he has one of his guns and one of his swords, so that's kind of cool. I guess it kind of shows off both types of accessories because you can't have both of each. It has to be one or the other, or go all in or whatever, with two swords, two guns, or one of each. You transform from robot to car mode in 25 steps, and from robot to helicopter, or I guess car to helicopter, in 26 steps. I don't know. And then, as a cross-sell for the Battlemaster Smashdown, I've already reviewed him a couple weeks ago, and a cross-sell here with showing Springer with Smashdown, and I'll be pairing those two up later. And on to my favorite part of the packaging, the package art. It has some really fierce package art. You can see he's got his twin swords. He's got this like really fierce expression on his face, kind of like charging in the battle. You can see a Wheeljack behind him. He's kind of pointed out. You can actually see him. Wheeljack didn't get a toy in Siege, however, he did get a toy in Earthrise. I'll be reviewing him a long time from now. But yeah, let's see, this is Voyager class right there. Top of the box, the Autobot symbol, all the stuff on the bottom. So it's pretty standard Siege box. Nothing too special about it, just kind of big because it's a Voyager box. So with that out of the way, let's move on to the robot mode. And here is his robot mode. So, given how Springer's kind of a lesser known character, I'm gonna have to go through the whole who is this guy shtick. So Springer was one of the characters first introduced in the 1986 animated Transformers movie, and if you're saying what Transformers movie, the only ones that exist are the Michael Bay ones, you're wrong. There was actually an animated Transformers movie that was released in theaters in 1986, and it was awesome. It ruined everyone's childhood because they, spoilers, killed off Optimus Prime so that they could push all the new toys, of which Springer was one of them. So Springer was one of the main characters in the movie, alongside Hot Rod, Cup, Blur, RC, Ultra Magnus, a few other guys. And Springer's most well-remembered line was, "I've got better things to do tonight than die," which is a really cool line in my opinion, but whatever. So Springer he didn't really do much in the film, but he was one of the main characters, and yeah, that's really all I have to say. He's basically only well known now because he was in the movie, and I'm glad I got this guy when I did, because it means I can line him up with my other Studio Series 86 guys. So yeah, so let's just take a look at the articulation. He has articulation standard for a Siege Voyager figure. He has sideways articulation at the head, so you can move his head left and right. Also up and down, it's on a ball joint. Universal joint at the shoulders, so you move his arm out and all the way around. Well, would be able to move it all the way around. It's catching on here. Bend at the shoulder, swivel at the shoulder, wrist swivel, waist swivel. Universal joint at the hip, so you can move his leg out, forward, and back. Knee joint, which looks really unnatural. Oh, there we go. And then sideways swivel at the ankle. So, I'm not gonna lie, it's the same with the vehicle modes. Aesthetically pleasing, functionality nightmare. It just doesn't work. These arms, they tab in pretty flimsily at the side of the torso, and they will come out at a moment's notice. It just does not stay together well. Anyway, that's my one complaint. Let's move on to the accessories. So he comes with 5 accessories. He comes with 2 guns, this one and this one. They are different molds. However, I'm not gonna... each one does have a different name. However, when I was looking these up, because I kind of misplaced the instructions, so I had to look it up on the internet, and nowhere could I find out which one was actually which. So in the instructions, these guns are called the JF-10 Warp Blaster and the C-10 M-Void Blast Capacitor. I don't know which one is which, so I don't know. And then he comes with 2 swords, which are identical. And the instructions call these W10 Air Slice Chopper Blades. There's really multiple different configurations to how you hold the weapons. We'll get to that in a bit after we cover his final accessory, the spinny thing that the helicopter blades mount on. This doesn't have a name, so I'll just call it the spinny thing. It doesn't really have a place to store in robot mode, so since it plugs into the copter mode on the roof, I just like to store it on his back, because that's for the roof. This turns into the roof in vehicle mode, so I just like to leave it on there so I don't have to worry about it. It's the same with like Prowl and Red Alert's light bars. I just leave them on the back so I don't have to move them later when I transform it. So, in terms of how you can get him to hold his weapons, you can kind of get him to... You can go all in with either guns or swords, or you can kind of go one of each. So, let's go with the guns. So, this is guns. Kind of like a... I don't know, you can have them dual wield. And these guns, of course, can hold the little effect pieces that come with the Battle Masters. Then got one there, and One there. And then I can get these out. These pretty tight. And then these swords. And just that. The swords are kind of his more iconic weapons. He used the swords more than the guns in the movie. So I don't even remember Springer ever using like handheld guns in the movie. And then again, I haven't seen it in a long time. But one of his more iconic scenes in the movie is he uses these swords to fight off the Junkions from the movie. They're like these motorcycle transformers that attack the Autobots in this one scene. So yeah, I kind of like these swords. However, I don't display them holding the swords. I display them with something else, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I prefer these swords over the guns just because you get some really cool poses out of them. You can have them like that or like that. I don't know. I've never really been the best at posing these figures. So yeah, there's also these little tabs on his back, which you can attach the swords to when they're not in use. There's these little holes here, and they just attach to the little back there. The problem is these pegs are really short, so pretty much any movement will just cause them to fall off. I used to display my Springer with them on the back like that, and they kept falling off over and over again, so eventually I just stopped. And I display them with what I'm about to show to you now. So, as with a lot of siege weapons, there's this overly glorious combination sequence so you can get them to combine into one big weapon, because the only thing cooler than a big gun is a bunch of smaller guns combining into an even bigger gun. So, the combination sequence goes as follows. As I pull the back of this gun, this one pegs into the back of that. Similar pegs are similar to the ones on Springer's back or on the sides of this gun. You peg the swords onto there. If you want to follow the instructions, you can attach the spinny thing on the bottom, but I just leave that off because it means the gun flip-flops everywhere. And bam, you now have what the instructions call the DEW Mega Missile Launcher. Personally, I like to think the DEW stands for Decepticon Eliminator Weapon, or Elimination Weapon, or something like that. So, yeah, it's just big gun. Kind of looks like a rail gun almost. Got the little things on the side, but who knows what it's supposed to actually be. It could be like a rocket launcher. Oh, it's called the Mega Missile Launcher, so I guess it just shoots missiles. You can still attach the little effect pieces. Or if you want, you can give them like a Battle Master, like a Smashdown. Which I actually display them pretty much. Oh, gosh darn it, that little handle on Smashdown's hammer came undone. Give me a second here. Let me just fix that. And with Smashdown in his hand, I got the handle fixed. Basically, this is pretty much how I display my Springer, is with the big gun in one hand and Smashdown in the other. So you're basically looking at what my Springer looks like on the shelf right now. So that's cool. Of course, all sorts of holes in his body for you to mount the guns everywhere. Got one in either arm, on the top of the shoulders, on his back, which of course is taken up by the little spinny thing. One on either leg, and then on the bottom of his feet, in case you want to mount like Cog's platform shoes or any of the other weaponizer figures. And he has the little pegs on his body to attach the little blast effects. So you can take like Taraxodon's little thing here. And just there's two on his chest, so we can have one there and there, so you can make it look like he's getting hit by something. And then there's one on either leg. I can, there. It looks like he just got shot in the leg or something. There you go. So if you want to like build a massive battle diorama like I do, you can just army build Pteranodons and blowpipes or the fire blasts, the little effects, the effect pieces there. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about Springer. Can you tell I don't like this guy? I'm kind of a little bitter about the fact that I just now realized I was transforming him wrong, and the fact that the only way you can get him to hold all his weapons at once is either by storing the swords on his back in a very flimsy peg system, or with a very flimsy combined weapon, because the tabs on the side of this gun the swords peg into are equally short, so these just fall off without warning. It's a functionality nightmare. Things come untabbed or random. It's impossible to get the car mode to sit flat on the ground. Copter mode's alright. It's probably my favorite of the... It's definitely my favorite of the alternate modes, and my robot mode's my favorite of the three forms for sure. But yeah, I'd say really if you want to get this guy to complete the movie cast, then by all means you really should. Because if you want to complete the movie cast and you skip on this guy, then you'll have a big hole in your little group there. But if you don't really care about that stuff, then just skip on this guy. I do not like him. I don't even really know why. I think it's just a functionality. It's not working. So that was my rant for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And tune in next week as we review the big boy, Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. This has been Ron Todd signing off.